Thank you for your questions. We have yet another question here, and that is, how do we discover our breathing habits and their effects? Again, this is a really big subject. It's an exciting subject. It's interesting. It's fun. It involves exploration on your part. It's not about a medical doctor or a psychologist or someone like I am to basically tell you what's wrong. It's about you discovering it. That's the only way you really get to a breathing habit and its effects and how it may be affecting you is through your playing with your own breathing. And you can work with someone who guides you through that process. And the first step really is to become an observer of your breathing. You have to be aware of your breathing. And there's no device out there that's going to make you do this for you. You have to develop your own awareness. And you use, for example, the Go instrument to help you develop that awareness. Awareness is fundamental to this. And you learn to be a third-party observer, where in essence you focus on your breathing. You observe what it feels like. What it feels like is what it's all about. And you learn to detect very small changes and how those changes are affecting you. It's not about manipulating the breathing. Like you hear so much about breathe this way, breathe that way. No, this is about sitting back and seeing how your body does it. What is your body doing right now? And you'd be really surprised when I ask people to do this, to sit back and observe their breathing. When I come back in a minute or so and ask them what they observed, they don't tell me what they observed. They tell me what they did. They tell me how they were breathing and how they manipulated their breathing. They never heard me. They don't know the difference between observing and manipulating. Somehow for them, looking at the breathing is changing the breathing. So the first thing you need to learn is to watch it, observe it, see it, feel it, step back from it, see what it's doing. And when you do that, you develop an awareness of it. And one of the things that you may find if you step back and look at your exhale, for example, and you observe the breath going out, the breath is going out. The first question you might ask yourself, is it going out in a passive way? Is it going out slowly on its own? Or are there muscles involved? Is somehow the body pushing the air out? Or is it just going out? Normally the air in an exhale will just go out by itself. It'll just go out on its own. There's no need to push it out. That's an action you're taking. What happens in breathing and an exhale is you relax the diaphragm, which then moves back up into the chest cavity, which means that the pressure in the lungs is greater than the pressure outside of the lungs. So the air just goes out by itself. You don't need to do anything. When you finish the inhale, the diaphragm relaxes and the air just goes out. So if you notice that the air is being pushed and you're just sitting in a chair or you're lying down, then you can see that there's a problem there. You're pushing that air out. There's effort involved in that. Why are you doing that? This isn't a reflex that's doing that. This is something you've learned. You've learned this. Something is pushing, that air is being pushed out for a reason. And then you ask the person to then, or you can then explore, what are the feelings that are going on as that breath goes out? What are you actually feeling? Do you feel air hunger as it's going out? Does a thought occur to you that you want to take a breath? What's happening? What thoughts are coming to you? What feelings are coming to you? What a lot of people discover is that they're pushing the breath out so they can get the next breath. They're in a hurry. They're worried. They're anxious about getting the next inhale. So they push to get it over with quickly so they can get a big breath as soon as they can. Now, if that's true, you're likely to have a problem because you're the one that's controlling the breathing. It's not the reflex. The reflex is in no hurry. You're the one who's in the hurry. So you discover the motivation in it. You see there's a behavior. Breathing is a behavior. You're pushing. Unconsciously, you've learned to push that breath out. That is a breathing behavior. And then there's a consequence. You get the breathing over with quickly so you can take a big breath. All right? So that's your reinforcement. You get to take that big breath that you're worried about. But you have no awareness of this until you develop that awareness by allowing that breath and see that's what's happening. Another thing you can do is you can see as that breath goes out, you can feel the anxiety. A lot of times people will abort breaths. Rather than push the breath, they'll abort it. They don't wait for the breath to end. They take it early. They take it early. And when they take it early, they feel in control. And it reduces their anxiety. And they've got their breath earlier than as early as possible. But what they've done is they've aborted it. And now they can't really take a deep breath. So when they try to take it, they never let the air out. So they can't really take a very deep breath. And now they get air hunger because they feel like they can't take that deep breath. And they keep struggling with it. And as they struggle with it, then they ventilate off too much carbon dioxide. They start to get all kinds of symptoms. And then those symptoms get blamed on, whatever the cause, whatever they think the cause of their air hunger is. And so everyone is misled as to what's going on. So that awareness is the beginning of finding a dysfunctional habit where you're stepping in and trying to take control.